Hi, this is Ben with Kadence Blocks. In this video, I'm going to create a web page and kind of highlight some of the features that come with Kadence Blocks. One of the things that you'll want to get familiar with when working with Kadence Blocks is the row layout block. This block really gives you a lot of page building opportunity because you can create columns and custom layouts, but it also comes with a pre-built library, so you can quickly and really easily add content into your page and then start working with it from there. So just like that, you can load in content, start editing text, or changing the background or whatever. In this video, I wanted to create the page kind of from scratch. So I'm going to start by getting a row layout. I'm going to make it a 2-column layout, and I'm going to come in here and quickly start adjusting some of the kind of framework settings. One of the things I want to do is set it to full width. And then I don't actually want my content to be full width, so I'm going to come into structure settings and change the maximum width to 1140. That way my content stays centered, and then I can set a background that'll go full width. Now in this example, I actually want to use a gradient background, so I can come into the overlay settings and set up a gradient and set the opacity all the way. So for example, we can start working with something like this. But I'm actually going to be using quite a lot of different colors, and I don't want to have to go through every time and set colors. So one of the things I want to take advantage of is inside Kadence Blocks, you can set up a color palette. So by default, this theme is outputting this color palette, and I can come in and add a color, customize that to whatever I want, and that'll show up when I'm selecting colors. Or I can turn off the theme and just use my own colors, which is a really quick and powerful way to create your own color palette that you're going to use throughout your site. So I'm going to quickly go through and set up the colors. Okay, great. So now I've got my color palette set up. I'm going to come in and start working with that. So I'm going to go back to controls here, and again I want this background to be a gradient, but I actually want it to be a sharp switch. So I'm going to come in and set these both at 55, and then actually change the angle so I get kind of a nice line, but I want to use different colors. So come in and select these colors, and then in this column I'm going to add an image, and in this one I'm going to start adding some text. So now this is an advanced heading block that Kadence Blocks adds, and with it I have a lot of controls over the typography. So I can come in and select any number of Google fonts, they're all here, as well as I can set the size and the line height and spacing and things like that. I don't want to have to go through and select that every time because I'm going to use the same font throughout this page. So I'm going to come back to Kadence Blocks controls and actually go to block defaults. Here I'm going to go to the advanced heading, and I'm going to go ahead and define that I want to use a specific font. And I really don't need to mess with any other settings because those I'm going to adjust on a per item basis. But the main thing is I don't want to have to keep selecting the font. So I'm going to save that. So now when I create another heading, this font's already pre-selected and I already get access to all those font weights. So it makes it a little bit easier and quicker to create the content that I want to create. Now with this text, I actually want to bring the letter spacing in just a little bit. So I'm going to come back into these settings and I'm going to just give it a tiny bit of a compressed feel. And then when you're working with the row layout, one of the nice things is you can come in and select the row and then center align things. And that gives you the ability to align content across. So now that I've got content aligned here, I'm gonna just kind of start tweaking this design a little bit. I want this font to be a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna set it to 60 pixels, and I'll give my line height 70. And then I'm gonna come in and go ahead and change it from mobile. I know I'm gonna want it smaller, so we'll say 50 and 60. And then on mobile, just thinking about this, I know I'm going to want the text aligned center versus aligned left. So if I come into the column and go back to my settings here, I can text align. So left is what it's going to be at. But then I can choose mobile and text align center. So now when that's in the mobile layout, it's going to be text align center. The other thing I want to do while thinking about mobile right now is that I'm going to want the image to actually be on top when it collapses. So when I select the row, I can come in and choose my layout. I'm going to actually tweak this just a little bit, make the image a little bit bigger on desktop, and then on tablet make it equal, and on mobile I want it collapsed, but I actually want it collapsed right to left instead of left to right. So that should make things work a little bit better on mobile. The other thing I'm noticing here is I want to change my margin, because right now in between these two headings I've got quite a lot of margin, so I can do that in the controls. I'm going to set the top just to 0 and the bottom to, we'll say 10. And with that one I'll do kind of something, we'll say 10 and 10. And then another piece I want to add here is the advanced button. Try now. And then I want to come into the, actually I'll go ahead and do the alignment. I want it left aligned. And then again on mobile, I want it center. And I do have to set the font family for this one because I didn't go preset that, which I can go do in a minute if I want to. And I'm going to make it a little bit bolder. And then in my settings, I'm going to set the size to 16. And the color, I'm going to make it white. Background, this dark blue. Let's see, and the border, also that. Okay, now I just want to add an icon, so I'm going to come down here and do link, and there's my icon. That's looking good. Now I want to add another button, so I'm going to come up and add one there. But while I'm in button 1 settings, I want more spacing in between these two, so I'm going to increase the spacing. There we go. The other thing I just noticed is I haven't set the hover, so right now it's going to a gray. I'm just going to set that color to just a lighter version of this blue. So now that hover looks good. And then I'm going to style my second button. For this, I'm going to keep the same size, but I want the background to be transparent. And then I'll make the color that darker blue. And on hover, we'll just give it the same treatment as the other button. So, okay, that's looking good. Now, this obviously I should have some different text, so we'll say and because I've got watch video, I'm going to change the icon. Let's see, maybe this one. Yeah. Okay. Those buttons are looking good. I want to add some padding on the top and bottom of this row. I can come in and move the padding like this, just dragging it. But I can also come in to my desktop and set the padding, so we're going to go 80 and 80. And now I want to update and we'll preview this. Okay, great. Looks like it's coming together nicely. Let's just check it on mobile here. Cool. It's doing what I want it to do. Great. Okay, now we're going to be on to the next section. To keep this video from getting a little bit too long, I'm going to just kind of scrub through the next sections of this page. Right here, adding in a info box into a 3-column layout, and then I'm going to duplicate it across. In this next section, I'm going to make a 2-column layout and actually then nest in another 2-column layout in the right column and place in some numbers and text to kind of give it a cool look. In this last section, I'm going to add, similar to what I had at the top with the background gradient, just different colors and a call out for contact. Okay, I'm going to update and preview the page. Great. Looks good. We've got our buttons. Hover over here. Nice section with a cool little graphic and call to action at the bottom. Let's just preview this in mobile. These collapse down and keep that style all the way through. Cool. Thanks for watching.